Hi folks, Roland Martin here. Hey, you want to be a better bass fisherman? Well, if you want to be a better bass fisherman, you have to be more efficient. Just totally efficient is the way to really improve right off the bat in what you're doing anyhow. And one of the biggest things about efficiency is losing fish, of course. If you lose a fish, what have you done? Well, you just wrecked your day. So let me just show you how not to lose fish, because you have to have the best knots available, the best knots in the whole world. And the knots that I want to show you, the 3 knots, are the most efficient, strongest knots you'll ever find, and I think the easiest to tie. And I'm going to show you how to tie these knots, and I know you'll find them. You might know how to tie them anyhow. I just want to tell you, these 3 knots are the knots you need to learn. Okay, the first knot, tying a hook or a lure on a line, any kind of line. Now I'm going to use an oversized big saltwater hook and an oversized line so you can see this. Now, normally with a 10-pound line, I could do it with 10-pound line. You wouldn't see the line. You wouldn't see the little bitty going through the eye. So I'm going to show you all the operations for first tying a Palomar. This is just a regular Palomar. Okay, the first thing I do with the regular Palomar is I have about a foot or so of line that's just doubled. And I'll make a little loop out of it like this and just go through the eye of the hook. Right through the eye. Okay, pull out about 4 or 5 inches of line. Go right through this and make a loop right through that. This loop comes out. Now this tag end, you take the whole lure, or the hook in this case, and go right through the loop that you had in the line. You pull it all tight like this, and it tightens a little bit there. You take the tag end again and pull it down tight, the last bit. Now you trim it with a good sharp knife, and you have the strongest knot that I know of for just a single tie. It's about 96, 97% if you tie a Palomar right. Now if you want to go one step farther, hey, you could take some super glue, put a little tad of super glue on the line, and that might even help a little bit. That's the first knot. A Palomar. Now there's a double Palomar and there's all kind of different variations to Palomar, but this is a single regular Palomar, and it's better than 95% knot strength. And then going through the eye of the lure or the hook and have it come out about 6 inches. Now you make an overhand knot at that point, make a single overhand knot, and you take the tag end, which is actually a loop, and you go through the lure and or the hook goes through it. Now, to pull it tight, you pull the regular main line tight. Then I pull the tag end tight. I take a knife, cut it. I have a perfectly tied 96, 97% Palomar. If I want to make it just a little bit stronger, I'd use some super glue possibly, and just a dab of that would make it another percent or so. Now, the second knot I want to show you is a loop knot. Now, why I use a loop knot is like this is a lure that walks along, or if you're using a jig, it wants to swing more, or used about any kind of lure, particularly plugs, loop knots are a big deal. Now, I'm going to use this big, heavy 60 or 80 pound, this is a 100 pound or 80 pound line. And so I'm just going to start and show you with this so you can see it good. I'm going to make an overhand knot in the line right here. I'm going to take the big heavy line, go right through the eye of the plug. Okay, now I want to go back down through this loop I just made. Go right through the loop, pull the loop tight, a little bit tight, run it down to the lure, pretty much down to the lure. And now I want to tie an overhand knot, but not just an overhand knot. It has to be an overhand knot in the line, in the tag end that I'm holding. That is the key to it. You tie the knot and the overhand knot there. You pull it all tight. And now when you pull it together, it all comes together like that, and as strong as can be. And you want to, now if you want a little bit more strength, you put a little bit of super glue on it, just a tad of super glue. It'll really help you out if it's a big tournament. But I'm just going to trim that off, sharp knife. And I have a perfect loop knot that allows that lure, to swing so much easier, and it's so much more action. And plus, it gives you a little bit more strength for toothy fish if you're fishing in pike waters and in waters that have fish that have a little sharper teeth possibly. That's a double line. So that helps a little bit too. To tie a proper loop knot, I do an overhand knot in the line itself. Okay. Then I take the tag end and go right through the eye of the lure or the hook. And now I go back through the knot. I go back through the knot, pull it down tight, pull the knot a little bit tight, and pull it down to the eye of the hook. Now I make another overhand knot, but in this line, in the tag end side. And I make an overhand knot there, about an inch from the other one. Pull it a little bit tight. Now pull the whole thing tight, and it all tightens up. Tighten this up. And take my knife, cut my knife off. Hey folks, my third knot involves braided line. Now, so many people fish braided line, but they want a leader to tie to the braided line because the braided line itself is kind of visible. So what they do is they'll take a 10-pound, say, fluorocarbon leader, tie it to a 20-pound, say, braided line. And now you have a really small knot, and you have a perfectly almost invisible situation, but you get this feel and the sensitivity of the braid. So let me just show you with big saltwater stuff what I'm doing. Let me show you how to do the double uni leader knot. Now this is big, heavy 100-pound test braid. It's all orange. And this is big old 80-pound monofilament that's just visible. It's not something that, this is just for the demonstration of what we're doing. I take the two lines and I lay them together, pull about a foot, so I have about in the middle, about 6 inches or maybe. So I usually take the braid first and I make a little loop like that, holding the line. You got the little loop. See this little loop? Now I go through the loop. If it's real light braid, I'll go through there 2, 3, 4, 5 is good for heavy braid, but 6, 7, 8, 9 would be good for the real light braid. But right now I got say 5 or so of this big heavy braid. I pull it down a little bit tight. Okay. Now I take the whole thing and turn it around. Take all this and turn it around. And now I have the monofilament side or the fluorocarbon side sticking out. Again, I make a big loop like this. And now this is heavy line, so I'm only going to be able to go 3 times. 1, 2, 3. If this were real light monofilament or light fluorocarbon, you'd go 6 or 7 times. But I just did 3 on this real heavy line. I pull it down tight, pull it down tight. Now the whole thing, so there's 2 knots apart. I pull things together, pull them together. Okay, pull them tight. Seat it good. Cut that off. Take the other side, pull it down tight. Cut it off. And now I have a perfectly tied double uni that's 90-something% strength. And if you want it even stronger, a little super glue, a dab of super glue will give you a couple more percent of strength. But that's the smallest, easiest to tie connection. All the saltwater guides use it. Everybody that's into braid uses a double uni leader knot. Now the first step is pull about a foot or so of line, double it up, so that I have about a foot coming out from here. Now the first step of the double uni is to make a loop like this. Once you make that loop, now you go through the loop once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. Now if it were real light braid, I might go 7 or 8 times, but I've gone 4 or 5 times, and that's enough. Now just pull it tight, pull it tight, pull it tight, pull it tight. Okay, now take the whole thing and turn it over. Take everything and turn it around this way. Now I have about a foot of line sticking out this way. I'll make a loop again, another loop. And this is big, heavy line again. I go 1, 2, 3, because it's real big, heavy, 80-pound line. If it's light, 10 or 15-pound line, I'd go 6 or 7 times. But just because to show you, I'm just going to go 3 because it's so bulky. Okay, I'm going to pull that tight, a little bit tight. Pull it all together. Do like that, tight. Take my line, pull this strong, cut it off, good sharp knife. Take it, turn it over to the other side. Pull this tight. Oh. Pull it tight. Cut it off. I have a fully tied knot. If I want just another % or 2 of strength, a little super glue, a dab of super glue will really do a trick. But now you have a 95% leader knot. So folks, I showed you my 3 #1 favorite knots. It'll help your efficiency to the point you can set the hook better with more confidence, and you just won't break as many lines. If you are dealing with 90-something% knots, you can't hardly break the line on a hook set. Anyway, that's just my tip for the day. Learn a better knot and be more efficient. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this YouTube, and I've really enjoyed it. My son Scott's got me started on it. I'm a teacher. I just love to instruct people on things to do. And I know that efficiency is such a big deal. You learn the best knots that you can and learn those 3 that I showed you, you'll be a better fisherman. So we'll see you again soon.